everybody. Got another minute before I'm going to start. So if you happen to have props around you, there are blocks that you could use here. But if you don't have blocks, don't worry. We'll make sure that this class is open to everybody, whether you have props with you or not. You could also have a pillow that you can sit on. I have this fancy meditation pillow that I'm going to sit on, but if you have issues sitting down with your legs crossed, sometimes sitting on blocks or a chair or a pillow or blocks under a pillow can be super helpful. So just a couple more seconds and then we'll do all the exciting, hi, my name is, what's yours? Oh, there we are. Hi, my name's Nicole and I am teaching or coming to you from my yoga studio in New Park. And I'm going to do a all levels yoga class with you today. And the yoga class itself is going to be focused around contentment, which is the term for that is santosha in yoga. So we're going to kind of try to find a way to be at ease within our practice and not feel like we have to push further than we need to be. I want to just talk real quick about yoga practice versus exercise. Yoga practice isn't typically seen as exercise in most cultures besides ours. So when you're doing this practice, yes, you're moving your body and you're getting into your body, but I want you to refrain from trying to push so hard that you feel like you're getting something in your muscles. You might feel that, and that's great. But you don't have to push yourself to that extent in yoga. Yoga works on many levels, not just on the physical. So all of my classes start exactly the same, and we're going to start the same way as all of my classes. We're going to lay down on our bellies on top of this mat, or well, on top of your mat. I'll lay on mine. So we're letting the body rest onto the floor. And everyone but myself is going to put your head right down onto your arms. So I'm going to keep my head lifted so that you can hear me, but everyone else just lay your head down onto your arms. Close your eyes. Start to take some deep breaths in and out. And as you inhale, feel your belly expand. And as you exhale, feel your belly button drawing towards the spine. Take your time here, inhaling, feeling the belly expand. And exhaling, feeling the belly button drawing towards the spine. So again, if you are just coming in, you're having your head down, we're laying down, starting our class in the most gentle way we can, trying to just recommit to our breathing. Throughout the day, you've probably held your breath 100,000 times, right? Maybe you're of the nature where you just hold your breath habitually, where you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for the other shoe to drop, or I'm gonna wait until something happens and then I'll exhale. And if you are like that, that's totally cool. I completely get it. But now's the time for us to really focus on just being allowed to breathe. You get 45 minutes of just worrying about nothing. Concerning yourself with nothing. Just breathing. Let's take one more breath like that. Feeling that inhale and that exhale. Slow and steady. Awesome. Go ahead and take your legs wide apart. Bend both your knees. And start to windshield wiper your legs from side to side. And this is just to activate into the lower back and legs. It's not to wake up the body in a drastic manner. You don't have to start flailing here. Instead, just moving in whatever manner feels best. Maybe feeling the muscles of your thighs start to kind of float underneath the skin. It can feel a little weird. Maybe as you move your legs to the left, your right hip bone lifts, and as you move your legs to the right, your left hip bone lifts. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Take it through from side to side, 1 or 2 more times. And then come right back into center, extend your legs. and press your hands into the ground. Draw all the way back into child's pose. So big toe mounts of the feet come together, and the belly's just going to rest between your thighs. Now from here, go ahead and take your arms underneath of your head. Let yourself just rest towards the floor. Soften the belly. Lower back's getting long. This is a variation of child's pose with your knees wide. It gives room for the hip flexors to actually flex. And then from here, we're going to roll ourselves forward into hands and knees. So nice and slow. Hands come underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then from that position, let's go ahead and cat-cow. So as you inhale, your belly's going to draw down. You're going to lift your chest and lift your hips. And then as you exhale, you're going to round your spine, pull the belly button towards the spine, round the back. Inhale, draw the belly down, lift your chest, lift your hips. And then exhale, round your spine. Take your time here. I know that a lot of times we kind of feel like we should be whipping through these movements just to get to the big opening movements or the big hard movements. These are already pretty difficult if you do them right? So you should be able to feel your whole spine moving here. This is an undulation. Maybe feel the neck start to soften as you do this so that your head gets heavy and draws the chin in. Maybe not. Maybe that's not your goal today. Maybe a heavy head's just not working for you. Let's take two more like this, just moving it through. And then one more just like this. Awesome. Bring your spine to a neutral position. That means we're going to move the ribs in, pull the belly button to the spine, send the tailbone back, top of the head comes forward. We're going to work those hands forward from our shoulders. So typically in yoga, if you're newer to yoga, then this can be a little uncomfortable on your wrist. If that's the case, roll your mat up a little bit. Have a little bit of a buffer underneath of your wrist. If you've been doing yoga for a while and you know the wrist stuff is already not a problem, then go ahead, don't worry about that. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up nice and high, reach your heels towards the sky, pull the belly button towards the spine. Lift those heels as high as you can, really reach your buttocks up. Try to breathe here, even though you're pulling up and in through that belly. Try to breathe. And then from here, look down towards your feet. Take your feet about hip distance apart, 3 to 5 inches, and start to walk out your dog. Bend one knee, lower the opposite heel, and switch. So we're just walking out that dog. So you should be able to roll your head from side to side here. The head should be just hanging, neck should be nice and loosey-goosey. Loosey-goosey. I don't even know where that term came from. One more time like this. And we're just going to keep on walking, but we're going to walk all the way to the front of the mat. All the way up there. Once you get to the front of the mat, great job. Bend your knees, come all the way to standing, push through those feet, rise all the way up. Now a lot of us are probably halfway here, so walk your feet forward, get to the front of that mat. Take the arms down behind you. Either place your hands on your lower back like so, or interlace your fingers behind your back. If you're interlacing your fingers, I don't want you to just send those arms straight. I want you to keep the elbows bent and move just a little bit of the forearm back. Little bend in your knees, pull up and in through the belly, and look over your left shoulder. Good. Come back into center. Turn, look over your right shoulder. Come back into center. Release the hands completely, whether they're from your lower back or interlaced, and reach the arms up. Take a slight back bend here, lifting the center of the chest, little bend in the knees to keep the lower belly engaged, and exhale, forward fold, take it all the way down. So if you are using blocks today, if you are one of the yogis that like to have the blocks nearby, I am as well, have those blocks right next to your pinky toes. If you're not using blocks, don't worry about this. Inhale, hands to shins. Take the top of the head forward, so really reaching that top of the head forward. I just realized you can't see my head. And then exhale, forward fold, take it all the way down. On your next inhalation, step your right leg back. So we're gonna lower the right knee all the way down to the floor. All the way down. Untuck your toes, let that knee rest. Remember earlier I suggested maybe having a pillow nearby? Maybe you'd like to put that pillow under your right knee. From this position, either hands on the blocks or hands on the floor, you're gonna take your hands to that left thigh. Now this might not be your gig today. You might not really feel stable enough in the joints to do this. If so, hands stay on the blocks or on the floor. Once the hands come to the thigh, if they do, make sure your right hip is forward and draw the hips down towards that left heel a bit. Maybe get a bigger stretch in the front of the right quadricep or thigh. Then from here, let the arms hang. So I want you to think about this, that if you were to extend your left leg, you would be in a split. So this is a really decent hip opener. Let the shoulders draw down. You don't have to really do too much more to make this amazing. You could squeeze the legs towards center line, and that'll keep you from just overdoing it in the hips. Bring the arms up. Maybe we start to get a little bit more balance. Or we don't do any of this, and we totally are content in the place that we want to be. There's that word again, contentment. Hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Float those hands right back down to the blocks. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee up, and let's just step that right foot forward. You might be 1, 2, or you might be all the way through. Inhale, hands to shins. Top of the head comes forward, shoulder blades draw back, cores in. And then exhale, forward fold. Take it all the way down. Inhale, this time left leg back. Take it all the way back and behind you. Bend your right knee. Lower that left knee to the floor. Untuck your toes. Hands wherever they can go, that you feel like you have a little bit of control in the body, right? We don't want to feel like everything's just wobbling around. Hold here. Let the hips settle. Maybe a squeeze to center so you're not overdoing the hips. Let the arms hang. So it's one thing to look for flexibility in the body, but we still need to bring strength. So if you just let those knees come out to the side and splay your body open, there's no more strength there. So we have to contain as we work into that flexibility. Reach the arms up. Sorry if I'm all sweaty. I just got done working out before I started this video. Probably not smart. Hold here. Stay breathing. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Bring those hands down to the blocks or floor. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee. Push through your right foot. Carry yourself forward. Inhale, hands to shins. So we're trying to keep the head in line with the tail here. That way we don't get all bloody in our head. Well, that sounded weird. Exhale, forward fold. Take it all the way down again. Inhale, right leg back. Let's go back into that low lunge. Step back. Lower your right knee to the floor. Untuck your toes. Hands come to the left thigh. Arms come up. We'll start here, or keep the hands on the floor. From this position, we're going to come into a twist. So, 2 options. If your hand is on the floor, your right hand's going to stay on the ground, the left arm's going to come up. Not bad. Pull that left knee in, push through your left big toe. If your arms are overhead, you might want to take that right hand to the outside of your left knee and take your left arm behind you. Hips fall forward. Legs move to center. Head turns to the thumb. Hold here. Stay breathing. It's okay if you're feeling wobbly. It's been a long day. Last breath. Sweep those arms up, stretch to the sky. Exhale as the hands come down. They might already be there. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, hands to shins, get that length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back. Lower that left knee to the floor. Untuck your toes. Remember, blankets or pillows under the knee if it hurts. Hands can stay down. We have this option coming. Or hands come to the right thigh. I almost bit on that one. Core stays engaged. We're lifting up and in. Yoga clothes are slowly falling off or riding up. It just happens. Left hand either stays on the floor and the right arm comes up. Voila. Or left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. We're pulling up and in through that lower belly, right? So we're not just letting the lower back take this. And then the right arm comes back. Look through that right thumb. Knee is forward. Hips are drawing down. Whether your hand's on the ground or not, we're still working on drawing into that lunge. Let's be here for 3, 2, and 1. Float yourself right back down. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee. This time we're going to step back into down dog. So push down through that left foot, drag that right foot back, and come into down dog. So you might be using blocks here, and if you are, your heels will probably come a little closer to the floor. You can also roll up your mat like I showed you earlier, or your hands might be on the floor. Totally up to you. Don't think about having to get those heels to the ground, right? Don't lose this pose just because you want those heels on the ground. Instead, maybe bend the knees, get your back long. Hold here for another breath. Last ones. Shake out your head, soften your jaw. Awesome. Look between your hands. Somehow, we're going to get this right foot forward. If you're using blocks, it's going to be a little more helpful. We're going to lift that right leg, and then we're going to step that right foot forward in between our hands. For those of you who just took a step and were like, this is as far as I got, wrap your arm underneath your leg, carry. Or take a couple steps. We're going to keep this left knee lifted on purpose. Let's lower the left heel to the floor. So you're lining up your right heel with your left instep if possible. From this position, we're going to push through both feet and start to carry our bodies up. Once you're upright, you're going to come into warrior two. So you've seen this one a million times. Usually when you think about yoga, somebody's in this pose. You're going to bend the right knee, arms are out to the side, and we're here. So if possible, we want that right thigh to be parallel with the floor. We can look through that middle finger of the right hand and try not to roll that right knee in or back too much, but right over the ankle. See if you can keep from gripping the mat with your toes. Hold here for about 3 breaths. 2, 1. Let's go ahead and straighten that right leg. Reach the right arm up. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Pull back gently. Open up that side waist. And then exhale and come back into warrior two. Shoulder blades down on the mat, or on the back. Hold here. We're going to exhale, take that right elbow to the right thigh. And we're going to sweep this left arm first by the left hip, down in front, and then by the ear. Holding here, shoulder blades drawing away from the ears. We want to be here, and maybe here, but instead we're going to draw back. Keep breathing. Stay with it. See if you can stretch that arm a little more. Last one. Keep that right knee bent. Come back into warrior two. Straighten that right leg. Turn both feet to face forward. Look down. Line up your big toes. One long line. Little bend in the knees. And then forward fold. Come all the way down. You can let your hands rest on the floor here. Or you can see if your head wants to come down to the ground. Whatever feels best for you. Remember, all of those options are available. For those of you with blocks nearby, you might be here. Right? You might have your hands on blocks. You might even have your knees slightly bent. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because you're in your house and nobody can see you. Right? So you can do whatever you want here. You can wiggle your butt a little bit. You could twerk. I can't, but you could. One more breath. Shake it out, shake it out. Awesome. Press your hands into the floor. Let's work our way over to the left. So when you're ready, you're going to start to work your hands towards the back of your mat. You're going to have to trust me on this if you're not facing me. Turn your left foot out. Bend your left knee. Your right foot's already in position. Come all the way up. Come into warrior two. Arms out to the side. Shoulder blades down. Breathe deep. Here we are again. Left knee over the ankle. See if you can straighten that left leg. Grab your left wrist. Pull back gently. Big stretch on that side body. Nice. Take it back into warrior two. Try not to roll the knee in. Try not to roll the knee back. Keep that left knee right over the ankle if you can. Right? You might not be that deep. Hold here. Knit the ribs in a little bit. Pull the belly button to the spine. Try not to grip the floor with the mat. Hold here for one more breath. Doing fabulous. I know it. I can feel it. Take that left elbow to your left thigh. Reach that right arm down by your right hip. And then send that right arm by your right ear. Good. So when you do this, see if you can rotate the chest a little bit. All those yoga clothes that you would think by now would fit. Rotate the chest. Pull the core in. Reach through your fingertips. Hold here with all the breath. Not holding the breath, just breathing the whole time. Content in this pose, whatever this pose looks like for you. Right on. Hold here for one more breath. You got this. Come out nice and slow. Warrior two. Straighten your left leg. Turn both feet to face forward again. Here we are. Take it back down into center. Bend your knees. Bring the hands to the floor. Awesome. Let's keep the hands on the floor. So if you need blocks under your hands, take them. If not, stay on your fingertips. If not, come to the palms. Shift your weight forward towards the balls of the feet. Think of a long line of energy from the top of your head to your tailbone. Okay, so we're going to shift from side to side. I call it stalking like a puma. You might not even want to call it that. So we're going to bend that left knee, draw it to the left. And then we're going to bend the right knee and draw it to the right. And here we go, side to side, right? I don't care how low you go. But what I'd like to think about, maybe, if you'd like to think about it, is maybe the hips come lower than the head. Now what if, let's say, you couldn't get your hands on the floor here? You could put your hands on a table. You could put your hands on a low chair, right? You don't have to have your hands on the floor. That's just silliness. Thinking it has to look a certain way. Side to side, maybe a couple more times. Next time that you move to the left, let's just hold it there. Yeah. Now we can stay here, just kind of hang out, see how it feels. Some people though, you might want to walk the hands forward, shift into the left toes, and as you sit deeper, sit down onto your left heel and let your right toes face up. Hands can come right to the floor. Now, if you've been doing yoga for a while, there's like 14 more variations of this that you might want to take. A bind, the left foot can be flat on the floor, whatever. But this is the one I'm offering right now. Do whatever you want at home. Just hold it and breathe. Remember, you don't have to do this. You can just stay lean into the left. Let's come out. Press into the hands. Shift all the way over to the right. Remember what I said earlier, you could just be here, hanging out, doing your favorite things. Breathing. Or you can go ahead and shift. Lifting that right heel off the ground, sitting onto the heel, hands can come to the floor, you can come into a balance, the left thigh can come right down to the ground, or you just stay where you're happy. Right? Just stay where you're happy. Be content with what your body wants to do right now. It doesn't have to be pushed. I can give you a million things you could do to push yourself right now. It's the end of the day. Nourish yourself. Just move. Here we go. All the way back into center. One last forward fold here. Just shake it out, shake it out. Breathe here. Awesome. Let's walk all the way over to the right. Once you're over to that right side, you're going to be back in that lunge. Step your right foot back. Come into down dog. You know it. We've done it a couple times now. Shake out your head, soften your neck and your jaw. Keep breathing, pull up and in through the belly button, that's fine. Stay breathing here. Take a couple more breaths just like this. Last two. Last one. Awesome. So then from here, let's go ahead and bend our knees. And we're going to come into this tabletop position. Hands are going to be underneath of the shoulders. We're going to reach this left arm up to the sky. So when you're ready, send that left arm straight up to the sky, opening your chest. And then from here, slide that left arm underneath your right and just let that left shoulder rest on the floor. So notice my left ear and cheek is on the floor, and I'm just reaching my left arm away. So if I were to turn and be this way, it would look like this, right? So then from here, your right hand's really going to be the action point. If you press your right hand into the floor, you'll be rotating a little bit more in the upper back. You can also put your head on a pillow or your shoulder on a pillow. There's a lot to be done here. Stay here for 2 or 3 breaths. Last one. And then when you're ready, we're going to press to that right hand and come all the way up. Stretch that left arm straight up to the sky again. Big stretch. Nice. Take that left hand down. Same thing going into the right. Right arm comes up, big stretch. Right arm threads under the left. Shoulder comes down. So we can press into that left hand a little bit. I need to keep my clothes on, there we go. Press into that left hand, twist a little deeper. Whatever works for you. Try to keep the cheek down if you can. Hold here. Stay breathing. Last couple breaths. Last one. Press to that left hand. Reach your right arm all the way up. Bring that right hand back down to the ground. Draw back into child's pose. Let the belly rest against the thighs. Arms underneath the head. Take a couple more deep breaths here. Try to get the length in the spine. One more breath. Awesome. We're going to get back into down dog when you're ready. So the arms are going to extend out, tuck your toes, come into down dog. Go ahead and walk your feet forward towards your hands. And come all the way up to standing. All the way up, stretch to the sky. Lower the arms down by your side. Let's go into a little bit of a balance. So I'm going to face you for a moment. So from here, we're going to start by pressing down really firmly into our right foot. So the right foot's going to come down into the ground. Spread your toes really wide apart. Bend your left knee here. Keep your hands on your hips. It helps with a little bit of hip stabilization. And make sure you're not just straightening your right leg, little bend in your right knee. And then from here, finding that balance on that right foot, we're going to start to lift that left heel and maybe start to lift that left knee. And if the left knee comes up, we're going to try and line it up with our left hip. If it doesn't, and you need a little bit of extra support, you can take a block and place it under your foot. You're still working your balance. If you don't have a block, you can just take your toes to the floor. Yeah, just kick that block. So you're finding one that works. So once you're in the position that works, we're going to go into the twist that we explored earlier in class. So we're going to take this right hand and we're going to place it to the outside of our left knee. Remember, we're pulling up and in, engaging the core, standing tall. And then we're going to send this left arm back and behind us, reaching through the fingertips and looking through that left thumb. It's good to keep an eye on things that aren't moving here. So if you start to stare at something that's walking around, it's going to make you fall. Focus on breathing here. Imagine you're really reaching down through the ground with that right foot. Last breath. And then unwind yourself, come back into center and lower that left foot to the floor. See how that feels. Wiggle out the feet, relax the toes. Here we go. Spread your left toes nice and wide. Start to bend your right knee. Remember, I did a whole conversation. We kicked a block, whatever you needed. Place that foot wherever it needs to go. Bend your left knee just a little bit. Lift the knee up as high as it's going to go comfortably for you. Totally content with where we're at. Left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Right hand comes back and behind you, and here we are twisting again. Looking through that thumb. Staying with our breath. Maybe that knee's not as high, maybe it comes up pretty high. Whatever works. Try to keep your hips level though, okay? Hold here. Don't hyperextend your standing leg. Strong bend here. So you have that thigh muscle working. Last 2 breaths. Last one. Come back into center. Take a forward fold. Stretch out through the back of the legs. Shake out your head. Soften your neck and your jaw. Maybe grab the elbows. Just give yourself a little shimmy and shake. Awesome. And then from here, we're going to come back into seated. So we took that little break earlier, now we're onto the floor for good. So remember earlier when I said that if you wanted to, you could sit with something underneath of your buttocks. You could sit on a little blanket or pillow or cushion. I had that little meditation cushion. So from here, if that feels more comfortable for you, I want you to sit on something. But I am going to show you what we're going to do, and you might need to change it around a little bit. So, still working with that twisted position. You're going to go ahead and take your left shin so that it's parallel with the small side of your mat, right? So probably facing me in this case. And then you're going to take your right ankle and place it right in front of your left shin. So left shin, right ankle. And then from this position, we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to get a good idea of what nice and tall feels like here, okay? So that means that our ears are over our shoulders, over our wrists, over our hips. Then maybe we just take the hands and place them behind the right thigh so that the right shin is parallel with the floor. And this might be where we stay. This is a good place to be, actually. You can keep working the core, keep lifting through the top of the head, lifting through the center of the chest. Or maybe you try grabbing the bottom of your foot. Yeah, that's cool too. You can keep the knee bent, lift the chest, sit tall. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you try extending the leg, right? Now, some people, you're going to be able to just shimmy that leg right up into the sky. It's not even going to be a thought, right? You have no hamstrings that are tight at all, and you are just an extended ballerina or something like that. Some of us are tight in the hamstrings, most of us, all of us, most of us. So we might need a little bend. Doesn't matter. No matters. Push through your big toe. From here, you could stay here. This is a happy place, right? We want to find our happy place. Or you're going to take hold of the pinky toe side of your foot with your left hand. Boom. It could look like this, guys, right? It could look like this. This is good. This is good. You could stay here. Or you're going to just follow into the patterns we created, and you're going to turn and look through that right hand. So here I am, pulling that leg up, pushing and pulling through my hand, sitting up tall, twisted, and releasing. Right on. So let's try it on the other side, shall we? Right shin, parallel, small side of the mat, left foot right in front. We can start by just lifting. Core is engaged, happiest place on earth. Shin can come up, happy thing here. Hands can come to the bottom of the foot, happy, happy, happy. Or out to the side, right? Happy. Content, wherever we are. It's going to look different on each side. One leg's going to just be easier to extend than the other. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect. The leg just wants to be longer on one side. Okay. Hold here. Or we twist. Right hand to the outside of the left foot. Left arm comes back and we twist. You can twist if you want to. Good. And just breathe. And lift through the center of the chest and bend the knee if you need to. Who needs to make perfect shapes? Last breath. Awesome. Let's come out. Good job. Now, that might have been a little hard on your back, so let's take a forward fold. Cross the legs, or don't. Maybe the legs want to be out wide. And take a forward. Everything we just did, you can do sitting in a chair, sitting on your bed, or sitting on the couch. The whole meal of things can be done in a different way. Isn't that great? You can do it. Your parents can do it. Your grandparents can do it. We just got to find ways to make it happen. Your kids could do it. All right, remember, forward folds are just forward folds for wherever you need to be. So maybe we're blocked. Maybe there's a chair here and we put our head on a chair. All right, all kinds of options. Or maybe we're just here. Totally okay. Don't think too much about it. Take 2 more breaths here. Just kind of feel it out. Awesome. All right, let's come up. We're going to lay down on our backs. Now, when you lay down on your back, you might want to have your head closer to the screen so you can hear me, or whatever you're doing so that you can see me. Lay down at your back, and let's pull our knees into our chest. So rock the knees in and just roll side to side. Great. All right. So then from this position, we're going to place the feet onto the floor. Now, if you happen to have a block, you can place that block between your knees and just kind of hold that block between your knees. And that'll be really helpful in this next part. You can also put a pillow between your knees. Not like a really big, thick pillow, but just something. So we're gonna go into a bridge, and unfortunately in bridge, we get this intention of lifting our hips only, and our knees just go whoop out to the side, because we have really, most of us have weaker adductor muscles. So we end up like just kind of dropping out to the side. So I'm going to ask you to keep your knees in line with your hip bones. So this is your hip bone, not out here. The hip bone's in the front, like the pubic bone, the pelvic. So I want you to line them up with those knees. Let the arms rest down by your sides. Press through the soles of your feet. And then from this position, pushing through your feet, grab the outside edge of your mat. Start to press your feet into the ground. Lift your hips. I'm not going up as high as I can because I want to stay talking. So once you have your hips up as high as you can, doesn't have to look like mine, don't turn your head to look at me, I am not doing anything exciting. Then from here, pull your mat apart, and that's going to help tuck your shoulder blades underneath of you a little bit. Your chest is coming towards your chin, right? That's where we're headed. We want the back of the neck to be long still, and you're pressing through your feet, moving your knees away from your hips. And we're going to be here for like 5 breaths, so just keep breathing here. Maybe you'll feel the belly rise and fall. There could be expression here in the abdomen, in the ribs, in the chest. We're about 2 breaths away from being able to come down. Please don't roll to your pinky toes. Push through your big toes. Last breath. Lower down nice and slow. Woo! Back bends are fun. Untuck your toes. Move that block out of the way. All right. So let's go ahead and wiggle out the legs for a moment. Walk your feet about mat distance apart. Windshield wiper your legs from side to side, just like you did at the beginning of class. Very similar. This is actually a really nice stretch for sciatic pain. So for those of you who deal with that, you can do this in a bed, right? You can do this sitting. And just one more time from side to side. Right, good job. All right, come back into center. So walk your feet about hip distance apart. So what I'm going to ask you to do next is just kind of trust me on this one, because I want to get you into a deeper twist. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense when I'm telling you what to do. Just kind of go with it, okay? So here we go. We're going to press the feet into the floor. I want you to lift your hips off the ground about, let's say 3 or 4 inches, okay? So if you don't know what 3 or 4 inches is, it's okay, neither do I. So 3 or 4 inches off the ground, meaning not a full bridge. Now from here, I want you to shift your hips about 3 to 4 inches to the right. So shift to the right. Now lower your butt down to the ground. So now your knees are to the left, your chest is to the left, but your hips are all the way over on the right. Great. Let's pull the knees in towards our chest. You're going to be off center, right? It's going to already start to feel like you need to lean. Now from here, take your left hand to the outside of your right knee and just slowly topple both of those knees over to the left, so that when you come down onto the floor, you have your left waist side or side hip is on the floor. Your right buttock is off the ground, probably a little bit of your left buttock. Now, if you can't get your knees all the way down to the ground, no big deal. You can place a pillow under your left knee, or if your right knee doesn't touch the floor, or your left knee, place your pillows between your knees. Yeah, it's that simple. Now, sometimes when I have people in this, their feet are in the sky still. So go ahead and relax your feet to the floor too. Right shoulder's going to try and stay down on the ground, which means if it's up, that means you need to put something underneath your knees or between your knees. And if you can't feel any length happening in the lower back, it might be because you need to pull your knees in closer to your chest. That's it. Those are all of the modifications that I'm going to give you for this. So just kind of do with this what you will. Remember how earlier I was talking about contentment? Let's be content in modifying postures so that they fit our body, and not trying to put ourselves in some kind of weird pretzel shape expecting it to be helpful, when really our body just wants to be a baguette. That was the best explanation I could come up with. Take a couple more breaths. One more here. Great job. Let's come back into the center. Move your hips back into center as well. Take a moment, feel that alignment from hips to knees to shoulders, and let's lift up again. Lift your hips to the sky, 3 to 4 inches. 3 to 4 inches to the left this time. Lower your buttocks. We're off center. Pull your knees in towards your chest, super off center. Right hand comes to the outside of the left knee. Draw both knees over to the right. Boom. Right on down to the ground. Left shoulder is going to stay down. If we notice that the left shoulder is coming up, you could put a block or a blanket or a pillow under your knee or between your knees. Or you could do both, right? If you feel like you could do a little bit more with your lower back here, if you needed a little bit more space, you could bring those knees a little closer to your chest, right? Right hand can rest on the outside of the left knee. Here we are, just kind of hanging out together. This is that last bit of yoga. Just keep breathing. Super content in where we're at. Maybe there's soft music playing where you are. Maybe there's a lot of noise around you. Maybe you're feeling quiet inside, maybe you're feeling not so quiet. Just taking this time to breathe, and to twist, and be happy if you can. We're going to come back into center. Center everything out again, here we are. And let's pull the knees into the chest and just rock from side to side. Yeah, just massaging that lower back. All right, so then from this position, let's go ahead and take those legs down all the way onto the floor. We'll just double check our time. Yeah, we're in good time for this. Extend your arms overhead, point through your toes, reach as far away from midline as you can, from fingertips to toes. And then from here, we have a couple minutes just to do this nice relaxation at the end. So go ahead and take your legs wider apart. Let the toes point out to the sides if they do so, so the legs will fall out to the sides. Place a blanket over you or a pillow under your head. Let your arms just rest. Maybe see what's going on with your shoulders and your buttocks. So these are the shoulder blades and buttocks are in connection, and your heels are in connection to the floor. So see what's going on there if you need to adjust them. See if you need to adjust your left side versus your right side, or if both sides need adjusted. And then close your eyes and let your head get really heavy against the ground. Start to soften your breath. Feel the belly button rise and fall as you breathe. So that as you inhale, you can feel the abdomen extend. And as you exhale, you can feel the abdomen contract. Sometimes it's hard to just be content with where we're at, and that's okay. It can be hard to be content with how we feel inside and how the world is, but that's okay too. There are limitations to all humans. But for just these couple moments, and they're not very long, I promise, see if you can feel contentment that you're able to inhale and exhale. That the air going into your nose is clean, and that as you exhale, you're releasing all that no longer serves you, all of that exhalation, releasing that carbon dioxide. Let the rest of the body get soft and relaxed, and be content maybe that it's a perfect machine. suited for a great many miraculous things. Allow there to be steadiness in your breath. A slow, soft inhalation and exhalation with your breath. And then when you're ready, or stay here this whole time. You don't have to get up because I'm asking you to. But when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then very carefully bend your knees in towards your chest. Roll over onto your right side and come into the fetal position. You remember that probably when you were, a fetus. No, maybe you don't remember that. But you're going to pull your knees in towards your chest and let your head rest on your arms. And then when you're ready, you're going to push that left hand right in front of you into the ground. You're going to come all the way up into seated. Allow everything to soften. And watch your inhale and your exhale. Finding contentment maybe that you are here, alive, and really quite beautiful. And then when you're ready, bring your hands together in front of your heart and just bow to that beauty within you, because that's what you are. Just sheer beauty and joy. The grace of the universe within me bows to the grace of the universe within you. I see you, I love you, and I am so grateful that you spent some time with me tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and if you need to reach out to me, I'm easily found. I usually go under Life Thrive Yoga, but if you need me by my name's Nicole Montanarelli. A pleasure being with you tonight. Have a wonderful Thursday and the rest of your weekend.